Hi, my name is John. Today we're going to be talking about Frank Lefty Rosenthal. He is the man who forever brought change to sports gaming in Las Vegas and in Nevada. We'll kind of take a look at his claim to fame, how he opened up the Stardust Casino and the sports book. We'll look at a little bit of his ties to the Chicago mob, the Chicago outfit, and then we'll kind of see some of the fallout that he had, and then um, how he inspired a really famous blockbuster movie that was filmed here in Vegas. So a little bit about Frank. Let's go to the next slide. So Frank, he got his nickname Lefty. He is left-handed. There's some speculation that he might have gotten his nickname when he was on trial. He pled the fifth and held up his left hand the whole time, anytime he would talk, and would mention that he was a left-handed person. He was born in Chicago, 1929, and he had a professional career as this odds maker for the Chicago mob. He was known for having a sharp mind. He was kind of quick-witted, but he had a very calm demeanor, and um, he had the ability to really like set these betting lines that would make the Chicago mob and all these bookmakers millions of dollars. And but you know, behind the scenes, he did have these ties to the Chicago mob. So that was kind of like a dark, deeper connection because he worked with organized crime. The mob did use Frank as a bit of a puppet. He would be the face of the mob to when he would move to Vegas. He would be assumed to be skimming some of the money off the top of their profits and sending some of that money back to Chicago. Um, and yeah, his claim to fame is being that he would forever change sports betting in all of Nevada. He brought, um, a little bit of background. Sports betting back then in the 50s when Frank was really taken off was illegal. So it was kind of like a backroom kind of thing that not a lot of people um, were trying to bet on. It didn't have like the glamour of some of the other types of betting that you could do, like table games, like roulette, blackjack, card games, craps, dice games. Um, and what he was famous for was he built when he opened the Stardust. He built this extravagant, large room with rows and rows of like comfortable seating. There's screens everywhere, so you can watch these games and bet on them. Before again, they would just be like backroom kind of things, like off the books. You wouldn't really see a lot of sports betting like in the fronts of these casinos until Frank lobbied to legalize sports betting. So when he did do that, he was the first to have this like extravagant giant room like with comfortable seating where he could just sit back, watch the game, and just bet on these sports. Um, his ideas or his ideology is still used to this day. Um, for example, a casino I know pretty well. I live close by to the Palms, and right when you walk in the Palms, you can kind of see on the left there's just a big opening for their sports betting. There's a bunch of screens everywhere, and there's just rows and rows of seating um, where you'll have like a little cubby kind of thing where you could bet on the sports and whatnot. And then if we'll go to the next slide. Um, Here's a couple images of the Stardust from a couple different angles. He handled all of the wagers and all the gaming for the sportsbook betting. By the 70s, he would be handling millions and millions of dollars. Um, and that model that he had for sports betting at the time, it was a lot more of like racing, horse racing, um, baseball, basketball. Um, those are the kind of uh, bets that he would handle. And then again, it's the first time you see luxury associated with sports gaming. Before that, again, it was really like looked down upon, or not looked down upon, but it had like this negative connotation associated with sports betting. You wouldn't really see a lot of people wanting to sports bet, but because of the way he advertised it and the way he set up his um, casino, it brought the spotlight onto sports gaming, and it really got rid of the dark connotation, like the weird vibes that sports betting has, like this like icky like backroom feeling, and instead now it's this is a really nice experience that you can have. Sports betting, it's not really, anybody can bet on sports. You don't really have to have too much like knowledge of sports. Like you can take like the over or the under on like sports games, like in football. You can take like the who's gonna win. You can do like a straight bet, um, that this team will win or that team will lose. Or horse betting, for example, you can just bet which horse you think is gonna win. You can, it's not as kind of like skill intensive as some like traditional table games, for example. And then next slide. Here's where some controversy really kind of leaks in due to Frank's ties with the Chicago mob. He was not actually allowed to have a casino license, so he really couldn't. Um, he couldn't. He wasn't officially in charge of the Stardust. Like he would have like bogus, like fake titles, um, to still be part of the casino, even though he was like the guy that was in charge. But again, due to his ties to the mob, FBI thought that he was skimming profits off from the casino and sending them back to Chicago. Um, and eventually, there was some internal disputes that he would get into, and he, in the '80s, would have a hit put out for him. And surprisingly, so what the hit was there was a bomb put into his car, and when he would turn it on, the car would explode. But somehow he survived this hit, and he would uh, go on living. But again, due to his ties to the mob and some other controversy of him, apparently skimming money from the top, he would eventually become banned from all casinos in Nevada. His name is in the black book, this infamous black book, where names are written down, and you are permanently banned from all these casinos. So he is blacklisted totally. But his innovation lives on. He has left a legacy behind where a lot of casinos today still have inspiration from him. They still build these like big rooms with massive screens, comfortable sitting. They have the hospitality down, and you can comfortably sports bet wherever you want. Um, Another big thing about his legacy is Martin Scorsese wrote and directed a film about him. He took his creative liberties. It stars Robert De Niro. He plays Frank, but they changed up, um, you know, his name and some of the names in the movie. A lot of the names. Instead of Frank, he goes by Sam, and his nickname is like Ace. It's really like a dramatic retelling of Frank's life and his story. I know if I recall, he Frank would try to get onto the set and like kind of like give his input on these things, but I don't think he was allowed to. Um, but yeah, it's a great movie. It does depict the rise and fall of Frank, and it has that scene of him being trying to be assassinated by the mob. There is a attempt at his life. I guess spoiler warning, sort of, but I mean I did kind of talk about the whole plot of the movie throughout this presentation. But I believe that's my last slide. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and learning about Frank. Next time you go to a casino, take a look around. You'll probably see a sports betting um, area. You can check it out. They're all inspired by him, so now you know. All right, thanks again.